Sometimes a wild predator can intercede for prey in front of his fellows, and a small raccoon can risk himself for the sake of saving a fellow. After seeing this, you will never believe in the myth that animals are guided only by instincts. They are able to show kindness, heroism, and even sacrifice themselves. And many of us should learn from these heroes. For a lion, another predatory cat is always a competitor. Lions even chase cheetahs, although these runners usually hunt a completely different prey. If a powerful male can catch a spotted cat, its fate is sealed. He can't stand up against a lion, who spends his whole life fighting with other predators. But something very strange happened here. Just when the male was about to deal with the leopard, suddenly the lionesses stood up for the spotted cat. It's funny to watch the complete confusion on the lion's face. After all, he takes care of the pride, removes rivals from the road. "What are you doing, woman?" But the female is adamant, although the male is twice her size. When her friends join her, Leo has no choice but to retreat. As a result, the leopard is saved. But why did the lioness intercede for him? Maybe it's a female, and it's about female solidarity. Suggest your versions in the comments. Looking at this pair, it seems that nature has failed. A baby antelope is nothing more than a snack for an adult lioness, isn't it? It turned out not. Inexplicably, this female not only did not touch the naive calf, but even protected it from other lionesses in the pride. Probably, the reason for the peacefulness of the female is simple: the lioness is not hungry. But why she not only refused to hunt the cub, but also protected it, is a mystery. The female understood that this was someone else's cub, but she still risked herself so that no one would touch the baby. She clearly could not confuse him with a lion cub of her own pride. Interestingly, although such cases are extremely rare, they are still not isolated. Occasionally, lionesses can start playing with an antelope calf, let it go away, or even protect it. Therefore, it will not work to write off everything on the strangeness of a single lioness. In addition, lionesses are experienced hunters who often get antelopes for lunch. It is obvious that any adult lioness has repeatedly hunted and eaten antelope. Therefore, it will not be possible to explain this case by misunderstanding who is in front of her. What then remains? Of course, it is not necessary to compare lions with humans and attribute to them some kind of code of honor that prohibits touching cubs, at least because lions often hunt young calves. However, it is obvious that the lioness took pity on the baby, knowing full well how appetizing he is in the eyes of her sisters. Therefore, such a phenomenon can be called a case of unique kindness. And how would you explain what happened? This rescue case looks pretty funny. The story happened at the zoo. A crow flew into the enclosure of a huge bear. She tried to find something to eat, but got carried away and fell into the water. Her feathers got wet, and the bird began to sink. She struggled, but the sides of the pool were sheer, and this bird is not capable of taking off from the water. The bear calmly watched this tragic story. Do you think it's like a cruel reality show for him? Not at all. It turned out that a huge predator is able to show sympathy. When he realized that the crow would not get out of the water on his own, he went to her and took the bird out with his teeth. Do you think he just decided to eat fresh meat? We can accuse you of callousness. The crow probably thought so herself. Just look, the bird is clearly in shock. Not only is she drowning, but a huge monster is coming, grabbing with its fangs. And that's it, the bear just took the crow to dry land and let it go. Such altruism of the bear deserved a like, don't you agree? The leopard is considered one of the most cruel predators. They deal with victims with lightning speed, brutality, and, according to some reports, sometimes attack without the need to eat. But when this leopard attacked the baboon, the fight ended unexpectedly. The cat dealt with the enemy, but heard a suspicious noise behind. She had already thought that a flock of monkeys had come to the aid of a fellow, but it turned out that the baboon was a female with a cub. The leopard found a small monkey in the thicket, and what the cat did is shocking. It seems that she is surprised, but she does not even try to have a snack with the baby. Instead, the leopard took the baboon with him, and began to protect him. Do leopards really know how to sympathize? Surprisingly, the baby is not afraid of the predator at all, and he takes care of him like his relatives, although he has just left the cub without a mother. The end of the story remained unknown, but in any case, the leopard could not keep the cub and adopt it. There is too much difference in lifestyle. But who knows, maybe the cub could get to his native pack. Is the reputation of Labradors as the kindest and sweetest dogs fake? Or did this dog suddenly decide to remember his wolf ancestors? Is that why he grabbed the poor deer by the throat? No, relax, this is not a hunt, but a rescue operation. The deer was scared of people and ran into the water, but overestimated his strength and began to sink. Surprisingly, the Labrador turned out to be such a kind dog that he jumped into the water without hesitation and began to pull the ungulates to shore. At the same time, the dog risked himself a lot because a deer in a panic could drown the dog himself. Therefore, the Labrador had to gently but decisively grab the deer by the neck in order not to let himself be hurt by hooves, and at the same time keep the head of the rescue victim above water. And when the dog pulled the deer onto dry land, it immediately let go, as if it additionally calms. The eternal confrontation of lions and hyenas. Who are you rooting for? This elephant is clearly for lions. Apparently, the idiotic laughter of hyenas at night got this giant. Therefore, when a pair of hyenas attacked a lioness to deal with a rival, an elephant came to her aid. He drove away the hyena, did not touch the lioness. Although adult elephants are too big for these predators to pose a threat to them, both lions and hyenas are dangerous for cubs. Therefore, the help from such a giant caused a real shock to the lioness. Sometimes animals save others not because of noble feelings, but according to the principle the enemy of my enemy is my friend. The leopard attacked the boar and was able to bring him down. The victim is strong and furious. She tries to break free to reach the spotted predator with her own fangs, but the leopard has pinned the boar to the ground and is increasing the grip of her fangs with every second. A little more and he will strangle the prey. Suddenly, at the last moment, a hyena intervenes in the fight. No, this is not an outburst of altruism, but calculation. Hyenas hate rivals. If she could, she would have taken the leopard's prey for herself. But the hyena understands that the spotted cat will take the boar up a tree, so she decided that if she herself is hungry, then the leopard will be left without dinner. Her blow distracted the predator, and the boar struck a counter blow, after which he was able to escape. The adult rhinoceros is such a large and ferocious beast that it is almost invulnerable to most predators. Several tons of powerful muscles, protected by a strong hide, unstoppable rage, besides weapons in the form of a horn island. It is difficult to resist such an arsenal. Cubs are a completely different matter. They are practically helpless against large predators. Therefore, the mother does everything to protect the baby. If even a lone rhinoceros can turn a jeep into a pile of scrap metal, then a mother who protects her child is capable of cooler feats. The problem is that they were attacked by a whole pack of hyenas. The meanness of these predators should not be underestimated. They are well versed not only in teamwork, but also in what bullying is. Hyenas maneuver so that their constant attacks are directed from different sides. The female rhinoceros rushes between the aggressors. She has poor eyesight and not much stamina. Hyenas do not approach immediately. They want the female to get tired and lose her orientation in space from rage and impotence. Then it will be possible to pounce on the baby and quickly cope with him. A hyena can crush a femur with one bite, so a baby rhino is not a problem for her. Then, you can retreat while the mother mourns the baby, and then return for lunch. Rhinos rarely need help. Usually, on the contrary, it is necessary to save those who dared to contact these giants. But hyenas could replace each other. Fresh reinforcements attacked the rhinos when the tired ones went to rest. This went on for several hours. The battle continued at night, when the rhinos can hardly see anything. Hyenas methodically and cruelly try to implement their plan. It seems that a little more, and their siege will be crowned with success. Here, the female moves further away from the baby, and returns to him more slowly. The jaws of one hyena or another approach the throat of a small rhinoceros. Suddenly the lions break into the party. These mighty predators take herbivores, animals aside, and the situation turns upside down. A powerful male attacks a hyena and literally digs it into the ground with one blow. The rest of the predators run helplessly, while the lion works with its jaws. After defeating the enemy, the lion does not show any aggression towards the rhinoceros, and the herbivores go about their business. They were saved by a force against which even a group of hyenas was helpless. Everyone knows about the enmity of cats and dogs, all except these two bosom friends. Just look at how the golden retriever pulls this cat away from rivals. The dog carefully approaches and pulls his friend away to avoid a scuffle. How often do you see something like this in a bar? A fight begins between guys of about the same complexion, as a big guy comes up a head taller, and with the words "hush, hush, calm down, they didn't mean that," breaks up the fight. It's curious, but no one dares to run into the dog himself. Apparently, he enjoys the authority of a peacemaker. Well, or is it an impressive size, what do you think? And this dog saves a cat that got into the water. When the dog gets too close, the cat tries to grab the dog by the muzzle. Either panic, or a desire to get out over the dog's head. It is interesting that a kind dog, after such impolite behavior, does not abandon a friend, returns with a branch, and saves the cat. When the venomous snake got into the house, she didn't know who she was messing with. The cat was the first to notice her, who fearlessly rushed at the larger reptile. But it turned out that he was not alone. A huge dog came to his aid, which distracted the snake on itself. This selfless dog saved the cat and possibly its owner. Do you want to have such a loyal friend? This cat greatly surprised its owners when it warmed the ducklings. Occasionally, animals can adopt representatives of another species, but for a cat to adopt a bird is a unique case because cats usually dine on birds. But this cat not only protected and took care of the ducklings, but also became a real mother for them. After all, they recognized her and followed her everywhere. Fortunately, thanks to the fact that the cat and the chicks live on the farm, they had no problems with food, and the animal was able to raise its wards. You probably know that some primates are smart enough to use labor tools. But, if some chimpanzees use sticks and twigs to get food, then kind-hearted orangutans can use tools to save those who are in trouble. The current, right before the eyes of this cute primate, takes the duckling away. Although the bird is waterfowl, the situation is extremely dangerous. The current not only carries the chick away from the mother, but also threatens to hit the sharp coastal rocks. Oddly enough, the orangutan perfectly understood the situation, and even calculated the trajectory along which the baby was being carried away. The monkey got ahead of him, went to the shore, and stretched out a leaf just long enough to get the baby bird. It is unclear whether these animals possessed telepathy or the bird simply despaired, but for some reason, she trusted the red giant and allowed him to get her without resistance. Soon the chick returned to her mother. The gorilla is an incredibly strong animal. Simulating the scenario of a fight between this primate and a leopard, the researchers concluded that such a fight would end in about 5 seconds. The leopard rushes at the gorilla and falls with a broken spine. The impact force of this primate is enormous, and it's all the more amazing to see how this creature is trying to provide something like first aid to this little bird that fell in his aviary. The gorilla noticed the bird, which fell on the grass, and immediately ran up to her to check her condition. A few gentle strokes, and the feathered came to his senses. It may have lost its orientation, but you must admit, when you are stroked by a paw the size of your entire body, it's hard not to wake up. Killer whales are one of the most successful predators of the world's oceans. They are at the top of the food pyramid, not only because of the enormous strength of each individual, but also due to coordinated actions. However, because of their cruelty, killer whales are feared and hated by other aquatic animals. And if seals and sea lions can't do anything against killer whales, then a humpback whale is another matter. Adult scree of this species can grow to gigantic dimensions 30 tons, with a length of more than 50 feet, more than 15 meters. It's bigger than most dinosaurs. A whale the size of a house. Such a creature can deal with a killer whale with one blow of its tail, so predators usually attack humpback whales only at a young age. But the humpback whale is not only a giant, but also an intelligent animal with a long memory. Those who survived and grew up remember their abusers and take revenge on them. The most amazing form that this retribution takes. Scientists say that adult humpback whales very often protect seals and sea lions from killer whales, most likely to keep their enemies hungry. However, there is an opinion that humpback whales are just kind and know how to sympathize, so they want to help those who are faced with the same danger that they faced at a young age. What do you think? Which version is more correct? Reply in the comments. But the coolest thing is the way humpback whales save seals. Of course, we are often talking about underwater maneuvers. Whales push back killer whales, threatening them with crushing blows, the force of which could flatten a car. But that's not all. It has been noticed that humpback whales can rise above the water and let seals, sea lions on their backs. In fact, the whale turns into a floating living island, which becomes a refuge for exhausted animals. Put yourself in the seal's place. You are swimming in the water, catching a fish, enjoying a pleasant day with friends, when suddenly a huge black and white creature several times bigger than you emerges from the depths and tries to grab you with its jaws. Raiken does not attack you, saves you and lets you ride on his back. Let's agree, if you make a fantastic movie based on this idea, then share the box office with us. It would be a blockbuster. By the way, humpback whales protect not only seals from killer whales, but also their other animals. For example, it was noticed how a humpback whale protected a gray whale from a flock of killer whales, real underwater heroes. However, killer whales remain without food. And who are you rooting for? Share your opinion in the comments. The leopard is a master of ambushes. Impala runs incredibly fast and will easily overtake the fastest horse. Therefore, the predator relies on camouflage and a single jump. He attacks from where he is not expected, from above. He jumps on the impala and with jewel-like precision hits the prey in the throat. That's just the leopard does not bite through the veins from the heart. The impala struggles, but soon subsides. But it's too early for the leopard to celebrate victory. Hyenas noticed his jump. It is not profitable to fight with them. You can get a wound that will interfere with hunting. The leopard fights off the hyena, and she already wants to grab a stick with it. But the gazelle jumps up with lightning speed and runs away from under the predator's nose. She was on the verge, but the hyena accidentally saved her. Since the leopard did not have time to strangle, and the spotted cat distracted the hyena, which gave a precious second to escape. So take an example from the impala never give up. The funny thing is, this is not the only such case. Hyenas are very cruel and not too patient predators. They like to take prey from others, but they do not always calculate the time correctly. If the hyena had given the python a few more minutes, the impala would have been her dinner. But the carnivorous beast hurried, and instead of getting a gazelle for himself, accidentally freed her from the snake's fight. That's how hyena accidentally became the superhero of Africa, without meaning to. It's even a pity somehow it becomes. Hyenas clearly at a loss. These fish were suffering from lack of food. The number of fish was too large for such a cramped pond. It is unlikely that this duck has an ecologist education, but she knows how to sympathize. You will be surprised, but the feathered began to feed the fish with its own food. It's hard to say where such amazing generosity comes from. Perhaps when the fish rose above the water, their mouths reminded the duck of how her own chicks beg for food. The fawn screams as if it is about to be sent to the frying pan. But no, it's unwillingness. It's just that the dog noticed that the fawn fell into the water and began to sink. The dog rushed to help the wild animal, grabbed the baby, and swam with him to the shore to the owner. Pay attention to how the dog tries to keep the deer's head above the water. One of the most touching cases of animal rescue in the world. The kitten fell into the pipe. The sheer vertical walls gave him no chance to escape on his own. The wild monkey saw this and decided to go down. She could have been stuck there with the kitten herself, but she couldn't watch the baby suffer. Therefore, the monkey took a chance and came to the baby's aid. Fortunately, the nimble primate was able to get out of the pipe and save the kitten. At the same time, he was helped by people who saw what happened. It is a rare case when a wild animal and a man do something good together. The teeth of snakes are adapted only for grabbing prey. They can't help but tear off pieces of food, chew, so they swallow the victim whole. This snake is not poisonous. She caught a frog, managed to grab it, and began to swallow it alive. The frog is very big, so the fight lasts a long time. But the snake grabbed the prey and is not going to let go. The frog's hind legs are already in the snake's throat, which are able to expand the throat to swallow such a large dinner. This tragedy was watched by another frog, which could jump anywhere, but jumped right on the snake's head. Although the rescue frog was not particularly at risk, because the predator could not grab her too. The amphibian feat looks pretty epic, don't you agree? But the main thing is the result. The snake really released the prey, and the frog managed to escape literally from the throat of the enemy. We clearly underestimate the analytical abilities of animals. This bull clearly understands that it is dangerous for a turtle to be upside down. Moreover, the ungulate turned out to be kind, so it tried to turn her back up. The bull had to try, but he managed to do a good deed. Inspiring, isn't it? The hippopotamus is one of those animals that almost regularly rescue representatives of other species. But there is no kindness, mercy, or altruism in their behavior. They are real scumbags who like to fight at the slightest provocation. Hunting some predator on their territory is just right. At the same time, they tolerate zebras and antelopes as long as they do not bother them. But with large animals is another matter. A behemoth can attack them for no reason at all. If the carnivore is quite far away, does not behave aggressively, and does not tease the hippo at all, then there will be no fight. But if someone tries to hunt next to a hippo, he will immediately intervene. For example, when a pack of hyena-like dogs attacked an antelope on a steep bank of a reservoir. They stretched the victim to prevent her from getting out. Several dogs hold their heads, while one descends closer to the water to bite their hind legs. Suddenly, a hippopotamus appears and instantly disperses a whole flock of predators. The dogs scatter so that the giant does not trample them in a couple of seconds, and the impala runs away in the other direction. Does it look cute? Maybe, but don't be fooled. It is worth remembering that this is not kindness. The behemoth is indifferent to the victim and is simply trying to monopolize the right to violence on its territory. Just like the government of some countries, don't you agree? Look how he took the prey from the hyena-like dogs. The hippopotamus does not behave carefully or gently with this impala at all. It simply does not allow predators to turn it into their lunch. The camera lens caught a unique case when a hippopotamus saved not a herbivore, but a predator. This young lion lost in the battle for territory. He came to rest on the shore of the reservoir, hoping then to hide and heal his wounds. But 3 hostile males tracked him down and came to finish off the enemy. Each of them was stronger than a wounded lion, and the 3 of them would have dealt with him in a few minutes. 3 males surrounded the enemy. He tried to fight back, sitting down so that his stomach, tail and hind legs were not under attack. With his back to the water, he did not allow himself to be surrounded, but all these tricks were useless. A little more, and 3 males will finish him off. The fight takes place in front of a group of hippos who calmly watch the massacre. Suddenly, one of the hippos comes out of the water. He is not a friend for a wounded lion, but on his territory, a hippopotamus will not tolerate reprisals even over an enemy. Therefore, the hippopotamus saves his enemy. He comes ashore, and the 3 lions are forced to retreat and leave the wounded man alone. How do you like this development? And this is one of the most epic stories of the confrontation of hippos with predators who are trying to hunt on its territory. A large pack of hyena-like dogs attacked a group of impalas. The coordinated work of the predators allows us to hope to catch all the impalas of the group, and not just one. Only hyenas can counter this with their rage and the strength of their jaws. They noticed the competitors and attacked them. They take one impala and catch it on the shore away from the water. Furious dogs do not give up and attack others. What was their disappointment when Behemoth intervened? He is clearly against these hunters turning his pond into their lands. Therefore, he saves Palu for them. Just look at how he guards the ungulate, which is trying to swim across the pond. They shouldn't feel safe anymore. Protecting a hippopotamus is a dubious advantage. And now you'll understand why. The dogs are lying in wait for another impala on the shore, and the hippopotamus runs out to the shore with a roar and disperses the dogs like punks. It's as if a tank was rushing right at you. Of course, the dogs scatter in different directions, but the behemoth underestimated the intelligence of the enemy. While he is busy, one dog quietly dives into the water from the other side of the lake. The dog swims up to the impala and grabs it right in the water. The ungulate is too exhausted from a long swim, so it allows itself to be carried away to the shore. That's just the hippo has already returned to the water and began to chase the predator. The dog had to drop the prey so that the hippo would not get to him with its huge fangs, as long as the whole impala. Do you think the gazelle is saved? That's just the hippopotamus has a tough character. He only helps those who can take care of themselves. This giant does not want to protect the impala, but simply wants to leave the dogs hungry. He probably would have left her alone if she could have fought off the dogs or run away. And so the hippopotamus saw that she was helpless and decided to snatch her from the clutches of predators in his own cruel way. He grabs the stick with his powerful jaws and throws it away from the dogs. From such a crushing blow, the spine of the ungulate does not stand up. And of course, the most famous is the enmity of hippos with crocodiles. Most often, hippos save other animals. When these toothy predators attack in muddy water, it turns out that they appear out of nowhere and instantly bite with their jaws. Scary, don't you agree? And hippos don't like unnecessary stress. It's easy to make them angry. Therefore, they attack the crocodile and brutally repel its prey. As you have already understood, the ungulate should get away from the ferocious giant. If he does not have time, then the hippopotamus can throw on him and drown him in a few seconds or break his spine. But most manage to move away in time, so the behemoth is a real hero for them. But for a crocodile, this animal is a nightmare. After all, the hippopotamus does not stop only at taking their prey from them. He will furiously chase the reptile until he tramples or drowns it. And sometimes, he literally drives crocodiles into the bottom of the river and tramples a lizard while hunting. Interestingly, while the crocodile has not attacked another animal, the hippo may well tolerate it if they are far from each other. But if a crocodile dares to show aggression on the territory of a hippopotamus, this rabid, fat gangster will swim across the whole lake, just to squeeze the reptile in his powerful jaws. However, occasionally, even such a brutal lover of fighting as a hippopotamus can show unexpected kindness. This lion cub ran away from his parents and walked alone at night. Unfortunately, he has not watched The Lion King and does not know how dangerous it is for a kitten to be without the protection of its parents. After all, the lion cub was noticed by a hungry leopard. This spotted predator doesn't mind snacking on a lion cub. He slowly approaches the kitten so that he does not have time to attract attention. For him, the leopard is invisible, because at night, this predator knows how to sneak up better than a ninja. But there is a behemoth nearby. You will be shocked, but when the leopard was ready to make a jump, the hippopotamus blocked his path and chased him away. At the same time, the giant himself did not approach the lion cub and did not cause him any harm. Do you like puppies? Of course you do. It's impossible to resist their charm. Those cute little eyes, tails that wag from side to side. How can they be offended? So the cobra couldn't. In general, mercy is a very complex feeling, and reptiles are considered incapable of its manifestation. But it turned out that this was not the case. Two puppies fell into a pit where there was a den of a large cobra. She could have eaten them both. Her poison was strong enough to deal with a whole pack of adult dogs, and the puppies were completely defenseless. What was the surprise of people when they went down and saw that the cobra not only did not attack the kids, but protects them. She spent 2 days protecting the kids, who huddled together. The cobra was even ready to attack people, because she thought that they were threatening her wards. Fortunately, no one was injured. People were able to get the puppies upstairs. The babies survived. And no one has an explanation for the phenomenal behavior of cobras. After all, it contradicts what scientists know about the cold-blooded. And what do you think about this unique situation? Maybe snakes and all animals in general are much more intelligent than they are thought of? Answer in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We have a lot of interesting things.